We're here at the end of Chapter 3 in Black Myth Wukong, and you know what that means? Final boss time! Luckily, we here at Direct Gaming have the perfect guide for you on how to take down said final boss, Yellowbrow, or as I like to call it, the Golden Thunder Buddha. You'll see why later. This is a little long as you have to fight him once, then you have to fight a mini boss, don't worry, you heal in between these fights, and then the actual boss one more time. So this is going to be broken down into 3 parts, where the actual boss parts is going to be broken down into sub 3 parts. Again, check the timestamps down below to make it super simple for you. This guy is going to be broken down into 3 main parts, however, though. Personal setup and skills I had unlocked for the fight, tips on how to avoid the boss attacks and how to counter them. Again, that will be broken down into 3 subsections. And finally, a full run of the boss fight sped up a tad to show you how to use everything you have learned in real time. Okay, let's get started on this one. Now, this boss is pretty far from the last main boss, Kangjin Star. So I implore you, go explore the areas. Get as much stuff as you can, level up, get items, crafting, you name it. There is a lot to miss, and some of this stuff can help you make this fight and future fights much easier. We can't cover everything here, but getting things like the transformation Ashen Slumber and finding the secret beauty scroll are very helpful. We actually have a guide on this second one that you can go ahead and check right here on screen. Not only is this a great place to discover, it's going to help you with getting things like stats and armor enhancing, not just crafting. I also highly recommend checking out this video on screen if you want to know all the secrets of Chapter 3. Shout out to Legacy Gaming for this awesome video. Also, while preparing for this boss fight, make sure to grab a ton of pills like evil repelling medicine, shock quelling powder, tiger subduing pellets, and longevity, as these can help you in reducing damage, increasing your own damage, relieving you of your shock status, and of course, giving you more health. I highly recommend you get used to using more medicine as you go through the battles, as it's not only going to help you do simple things like deal more damage, obviously, but also get to certain health checkpoints where the bosses will do certain moves, and you can be better prepared to counter these easily. Finally, for some extra stuff, I recommend you take a few of your extra leftover sparks and put them into the thrust stance, and make sure you have 3 focus points available when charging up a heavy attack. Basically, do what you want to do in terms of things that you like to use, but with all our prep done, it's time to finally take on this golden pain in the ass. And I mean it, it's a bit of a tough boss. But before that, I need to pay some bills real quick, and that is going to be possible thanks to today's sponsor, Factor. Are you someone who loves to game but just can't find the time? Want to finally jump into the brand new game Black Myth Wukong, or maybe just a quick online match with the boys, but that crazy schedule of yours just won't allow it? Whether it be school, full-time job, family, or anything else you can think of, throw on top of that having to make dinner and clean up after, which, let's be honest, nobody likes to do. Well, today is your lucky day. Factor is the best place to get chef-prepared meals on the table in 2 minutes that are not only ready to go, but extremely healthy and tasty. I mean, just look at all these options right here. My personal top 3 picks would have to be the roasted garlic chicken, honey mustard pork chops, and oh, that creamy Parmesan chicken. Yeah, I'm definitely eyeing that one right there. Or maybe you just need something for breakfast. The smoky bacon and cheddar egg bites definitely make my mouth water a little bit. It gives you the protein you need for the day and can also get in some much needed gaming sessions. All you have to do in order to get all of this is just click the link in the pinned comment to get 50%. Yes, you heard me, 50%. That is half off the normal price of your first Factor box. And you will also get 20% off your next month's order. Also, to top it all off, you don't need to order something for every day. Only need meals for 2 days out of the week? No problem. One thing I especially love about Factor is that you can actually skip weeks, which means that you are not charged and you can start back up whenever you want. That saves you money when you need it, and you can still get in those sweet gaming sessions. So, what the heck are you waiting for? Hit the link, sign up, and use the code that you see on screen to get 50% off now. Okay, we have returned. Now, when it comes to the boss fight itself, Mr. Brow here is going to be a bit of a long fight, so I hope you've got some free time. This part of the guide is going to be broken up into 3 subparts like I've mentioned before already, so if you don't need the first 2 parts, check out the timeline down below, skip ahead to whatever part you need, and let's get started with part 1. When you enter the door and after the cutscene ends, there's a very good chance the boss is going to do one of his famous thrust moves with his mace weapon at you. Trust me, he loves this move. You'll simply need to sidestep to avoid some big damage and thus try to get your first combo in. Obviously, since lightning is the main element of this boss, keep an eye on your life bar and make sure you are not affected by static, as this means that you will take more damage per hit. See right there, the little symbol underneath the stamina bar? If you ever see this, get rid of it as fast as you possibly can. A slow but big move to watch out for is when the boss slams his mace into the ground in a vertical motion. From here, he'll spin around trying to hit you, finishing it up with an electrical ring. You can obviously jump over this or perfect dodge it if possible. Obviously, like any boss in the game though, this one comes equipped with its own stomp attack, some basic floor projectiles, and so on. But do keep in mind that some of these attacks do explode, so don't stand next to the boss for certain moves. Most of the other moves during this stage of the boss, he will actually swing his mace around a lot, and it does curve sometimes, so you've got to be able to watch out for that. A flashy move to watch out for as well is in this stage when he spins his mace around his head and you see these electrical spark projectiles form above him. Then they will start to fly at you. I found dodging the projectiles to be much easier if you are running and then dodging. After the projectiles are done, he will then finish this up by slamming his mace into the ground and it will actually extend forward towards you, and finally, it'll create an electric ring that shoots out. The last move to keep an eye on is when his health gets under 50% and he appears at the back of the arena. It looks like he's absorbing a bunch of energy and charge up a huge area of effect move with the mace, and it can hurt quite a bit. The easiest way to avoid this is to just simply transform into whatever transformation you have and just eat that damage. Whether you get pushed back into your normal form is totally fine, you've at least avoided the main damage. A lot of these attacks are not too bad, but they are a preview for what you're going to have to deal with in the final fight. Other than that though, keep up these attacks until the boss, sorry, let me check my script here, sucks you into his sack. Yeah, okay, well that's what he says. So anyway, this will conclude part 1. Let's move on to part 2 now. Okay, so for part 2, it's not really a boss fight, it's more of a mini boss. It's the monkey with a giant sword and wings that you've been seeing throughout chapter 3. Luckily, you get fully healed here, so don't worry if you've used all your healing potential or anything like that. Actually, you know what? Pause the video for a second here, editor. Thanks. From this point, if you lose, you can actually change things at the shrine, since you will be returned there if you happen to lose. But when you enter the doors to the arena, you're going to get automatically teleported to this mini boss and not part 1 of the fight. So don't freak out or anything. Go back to the shrine if you need to, change everything, go level up some more if you need to, and you should be good to go. Okay, all good? Cool. Now, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this mini boss because he's actually really not that hard, but there are a few parts that I do want to go over real quick. This fight can be pretty standard in terms of mini bosses, since this little mini boss here will do things like lunge at you with strikes of his sword, throw poison projectiles at you, and so on. Again, nothing really new that you haven't seen here since you've been playing this game since chapter 1. I did end up losing the first time, but that's because simply I was still prepared for something else to happen. But after that though, the second time, it was a lot easier. Just simply avoid his slashes, even if it means doing something like mashing the dodge button, and it will work out no problem for you. He's pretty easy to read, so you should be good to go. Okay, now it's time for phase 3 and the final fight against Golden Buddha here. After the mini boss fight, you'll actually be turned into said mini boss that you fought, but basically you'll have to go straight along the path as you see here on screen and then get to the final boss. You'll still have the giant sword as that monkey, but after a few seconds you'll be turned back into the destined one and things can continue on from there. Alright, you ready? Here we go. This boss, no lie, probably took me over 15 tries or so. And the downside, there is no secret vessel item or anything to get like in chapter 1 or 2, so this is all coming down to you and your skill. If you want to get the transformation of the two-headed dog that we talked about earlier at the very beginning of the video with the sword that can also explode, it definitely helped me out here, but it's not required. Again, check out that link to the other video if you want to go ahead and get that yourself though. Actually, sorry, real quick, editor, pause the video again. Okay, so if you lose in this stage 3 to this boss, you'll actually respawn right in front of where the arena is. Don't freak out, however, though. If you want to do things like get more medicine, find more stuff, level up, and do all that other stuff, then simply go into your menu and use the Incense Trail Talisman to teleport you back to the shrine. Then from there, you can go off and do whatever you want. Then when you come back, you can either teleport into the boss room if you want to, or enter through the temple door. The option is yours. Okay. All good? No more freaking out? Perfect. Okay, now it's really time to take on the boss once and for all. Okay, full honesty right here, I'm not saying you need to copy each transformation, spirit, and so on that I do for this particular fight, but I will say after facing this guy over 15 times and really starting to learn his moves and everything, what works here really does work for the most part. So again, you don't need to copy everything, but maybe use some of the stuff I recommend. Again, it's up to you, but this is how I personally took the boss down. Like we've been doing in our previous guides, right before the battle starts, you need to start using more of your medicine so that you can take less damage, deal more damage, and do things like increase your crit chance. So for this fight, make sure you have shock quelling powder, tiger subduing pellets, amplification pellets, and a final one of your choice, whatever one you want to use. Right before you start, eat a tiger pellet so that you do increase damage. Heck, pop an amplification one if you want to as well. Then, right as the boss fight starts, you start running up towards them. That way you can get up nice and close and personal. From here, you can do one of two things. You can either immobilize to get a full combo going, or you can do what I did and use the Falcon Hermit Spirit to actually freeze the boss thanks to the Ice Tornado, get a combo on him, and then use Immobilize yourself to get a second combo on the boss. In the unedited B-roll, you're going to see that I actually forgot to do that immobilized part since my brain was close to mush after doing this for so long, but it does work as I used it in some of my other tries. When doing this part, you can quickly combo and dodge him at the very beginning since you're going to have some extra damage thanks to those pills. If you're fast enough and you're dealing enough damage, this will actually knock him into his first cinematic attack that happens at about 75% health left. This cannot be dodged FYI, so don't even try. Also, within this fight, please try your best to not use any healing until after this first attack. If you're using 3 or 4 healing moments before 75% of his health is still left over, just start the fight over again, or use this chance to practice yourself. After the big cinematic attack happens, heal up and resume the battle. Now, one of two things are going to happen here. He will either turn into his golden state immediately, or he's going to start throwing out some of his basic attacks that you saw in round 1 and then turn golden. These can be a little faster, but still pretty easy to see. He will also start doing more lightning strikes and such, so I suggest getting used to the running around with R1 and then dodging at the same time. It's going to help you a lot more, at least that's what I personally found. Now, I do want to cover a couple more attacks that the boss can throw your way, but right now at this point, I want to talk about if he goes straight into his golden form. This is very important here. Now, whenever the boss turns golden, you actually can't do normal hits. You need to do heavy attacks. And not just any heavy attack, you need to have focus charges. This is where I will tell you, as you build up your focus charges, you know, the things in the bottom right corner, do not use them at all until this stage. Anytime he turns golden, this is when you want to start using those focus points. If you're using the focus points when he's not golden, well, it's your choice, but I highly recommend that you don't do it. The moment the boss changes, this is when you actually want to change over to thrust stance, or just simply have it ready regardless, and use this right away. I recommend this one since it allows you to attack from a distance and it can be really powerful. If you hit him with a level 3 charge and you happen to have something like damage increasing pills used, this will actually knock the boss out of this state, allowing you to get a full free combo on him. If you don't have the pills activated though, don't worry. Hit him with a level 3 at the beginning, just like you're seeing here on screen. Then, after you've dodged some of his moves, get a chance to get either a level 2 usually, or get another level 3 ready to go, and you'll be able to knock him out of this state, which is really helpful. Best time for the secondary heavy attack though, is when he's actually talking or kind of walking around like you see here on screen. Do not, and I mean do not, try to get any kind of charges by standing still when he's trying to attack you. If you want to, I guess, you could potentially use the heavy stance that allows you to move around, but he's still going to hit you a lot because he's locked in on you. So do what you feel is best, but this is the one that I personally found to be the easiest. Now, there might be some times where you're not able to knock the boss out of the golden state. If this happens, he will eventually start to gather a ton of energy to basically explode. If this happens, the best way to avoid this is to actually run into the corner in the far distance away from him and basically just kind of roll and dodge and stay in a corner until he explodes, and you should be good and safe. Okay, so that's everything you need to know about his golden state. Just keep an eye out anytime he changes into it, use your big heavy moves, and you should be good to go. Moving away from the golden state now, what are some other moves to watch out for? If the boss starts to summon some sparks above his head like you saw during part 1, don't move yet. Wait until you see an electric circle appear around you. In order to get away from this, you actually need to jump out of the circle. You can't simply dodge through the circle or walk through it. Once that happens, start running. Then when the projectiles are fired at you, that's when you can start dodging. I found this to be much easier. Some people have said that they dodge forward as they come towards you. Do what works best for you though. When you get close to about 40% of his health left over, I recommend using the Wind Tamer vessel from chapter 2 so that you can raise your defense greatly for a bit, as you're probably about to hit his second cinematic attack that again, you cannot dodge. I did use this a little earlier though in the unedited footage, but I did this because I personally needed to and I did not want to waste any of my healing. Okay, after that attack happens, home stretch time, last stand. As with any boss, he's going to start using his moves more, combine certain moves with other ones, so make sure you stay on your toes. Only attack him when you see a real opening. Do not get hasty, be patient. I cannot stress that enough. One attack you'll most likely see early on is this sort of lightning sword attack. This can be very tricky at the beginning because he basically winds up and then swings extremely fast, so you need to be ready. Again, running to the side and then dodging is gonna help you a lot here when this happens. It has a very small window in terms of dodging it, so you gotta be ready. As the end of the fight approaches, absolutely watch out for this move where it looks like it's going to be a normal mace swing, but then the thing will actually curve around him and seek you out. You need to be ready to dodge this, otherwise it's going to hurt a lot, and I'm pretty sure it automatically applies static to you, which means you're going to take even more damage, so just avoid this at all costs. Final tip I have is if you see him start to gather energy like you see here, don't be afraid to use your transformation to not only tank the damage, but deal damage to him. Usually, more than not, every single time he does this exploding move, he will then get out of his golden state. Your transformation is going to be able to save your life, so just use it if you have to. Otherwise, that is everything I can personally think of when it comes to this fight. This will take you a few tries. Don't forget to take your medicine to get rid of shock, watch the patterns of the attack, increase your attack and critical chance if you need to, and as always, be patient. I know I said that beforehand, but especially with this boss, it is absolutely true. Keep doing everything above until you finally take this boss down and earn the Nifty Nonsense trophy and achievement, and this boss is done, and you can go on to chapter 4. Now, here's a full run of the boss fight sped up a tad to show you how to take down Yellowbrow. If you enjoyed the guides, then a like on the video shows us that you enjoy this type of content, and don't forget to check out our other Black Myth Wukong guides and content along with our other videos in the top right corner and pinned comments. Thanks for watching the video. I've been Talon with Dark Gaming. I hope you have a great day and week, and I hope to see you all in the next video or live stream. Until next time, everyone, Johnny.
Why not yield? No one to do. Why persist in your path? What penalty should it be? And renew the cycle of vexation. Disavow the poor creature and suffer the loss. Even with the title of Sacred War, you get into our world for the time. We are homeland. out of there. There can be no question. Shouts will hear, or thou wilt never see shit. My Macaque hall. How can abomination thrive its magnificence? Walk the path of Buddha. Only it, not without. Seek the land of death. There is only abyss. And your abyss is me. Deceive me, sight and sound. That is your destiny. Soon Wukong, only I know that time. All fools are illusion. You do not see. Follow me. Only you can so abyss. To walk the path of Buddha, only, not without. Receive me, sight and sound. How wise. What is best about My seed is how it utterly made all who enter.